All right, let's dive into one of the most iconic transformations in all of cinema, Michael Corleone in The Godfather. We're going to break down the journey of a decorated war hero who ends up becoming the very thing he swore he'd never be, a cold, ruthless crime lord.
So that's the big question, right? How does a genuine war hero, a guy who fought for his country, turn into a merciless mob boss? I mean, this is a man who wanted nothing to do with his family's world. He desperately tried to stay out of that shadow, but somehow he got pulled deeper into the darkness than anyone. So what was it? What was the tipping point that pushed him over the edge?
Okay, so let's set the scene. The family and the outsider. Our story kicks off at this huge, lavish wedding for Connie Corleone. And right away, you see the family's power. It's all out there. People are asking for favors, debts are being settled in these quiet, dark corners. But then, right in the middle of all of this, you've got one son who's completely different. He's in his military uniform, intentionally standing apart from it all, and that, of course, is Michael.
And you've got to understand the family tree here, the whole hierarchy. You've got Don Vito Corleone, the Godfather himself, at the very top. Then there's Santino or Sonny, the hot-headed heir apparent. Tom Hagen is the conciliary, the level-headed advisor. You've got Fredo, kind of the overlooked middle son. And then there's Michael, the war hero, the one who's keeping his distance from all of this.
And he makes this so clear to his girlfriend, Kay. He tells her straight up, "That's my family, Kay. It's not me." I mean, he draws this incredibly firm line in the sand. He's explaining the, let's call it the darker side of the family business, and he's telling her, that's them. I'm not a part of that world. You know, he's a civilian, a war hero, and he has zero intention of ever following in his father's footsteps. Or so he thinks.
And this brings us to the moment it all starts to unravel. A war begins, an offer refused. So the catalyst, the spark, comes in the form of a business deal. This drug baron, Virgil the Turk, Sollozzo, he comes to Don Vito. He wants the family's political protection for a huge new narcotics operation. But Vito, he's old school. He refuses. He calls it a dirty business. And that one decision, man, that decision lights the fuse for an all-out war.
And when that fuse is lit, the explosion is immediate and it is brutal. On day one, Don Vito himself is gunned down in the street. He survives, but just barely. Day two, the family's most feared enforcer, Luca Brasi, is killed. Day three, Sonny, who's now the acting boss, he hits back hard with a hit on Bruno Tattaglia. And just a day later, there's another attempt on Vito's life while he's recovering in the hospital. The whole thing just spirals out of control in a matter of days.
And this is the moment. This is when Michael, the outsider, gets violently dragged into the family's business. He can't just stand on the sidelines anymore. He finds his father at the hospital, completely alone and unprotected, and he single-handedly stops another assassination attempt. It's like his war hero instincts just take over. And right there, in that quiet, empty hospital corridor, that firm line he drew between his world and his family's, it just starts to dissolve.
Which leads us here. Michael makes his bones. This is the absolute point of no return. After what happened at the hospital, Michael gets it. This isn't just business anymore. They came for his father. It's personal. And so, he does something that completely shocks his family, his brothers, everyone. He volunteers to do the unthinkable. He says he will be the one to personally assassinate Sollozzo and his corrupt police captain bodyguard.
So they set up this peace meeting at a quiet little Italian restaurant. The tension is just, you can feel it through the screen. Michael meets his targets, then excuses himself to the bathroom. He knows a gun has been planted for him there. He comes back to the table, and with this surge of just ice-cold resolve, he shoots both men dead. And in that deafening silence right after the shots, the war hero is gone. He dies in that moment, and something new, something much colder is born. There is absolutely no going back from this.
After the hit, Michael has to get out of the country fast, so he flees to Sicily, his family's ancestral home. And for a while, it's like he's in a completely different world. He's living this quiet, peaceful life, totally removed from the bloody war back in New York. He even falls in love and marries a local woman, Apollonia. And you know, for a brief, fleeting moment, it really seems like he might have found a way out, a different path.
But back in New York, a power vacuum is starting to emerge. This is the fall of an heir. See, while Michael's finding this fragile peace in Sicily, the war back home is just raging. And Sonny is now the acting Don, but he's leading with pure, uncontrolled rage, not his father's cunning or his strategy. And because of that, he's making enemies left and right and leaving the entire family dangerously exposed.
And eventually, Sonny's hot-headedness costs him his life. He gets baited into a trap, a fake distress call from his sister. He races off, totally alone, no protection, and drives right into an ambush at a highway toll booth. He's gunned down in what is still one of the most shocking and brutal scenes ever put on film. And just like that, the family's acting boss, the heir, is gone.
And tragedy doesn't just strike in America. It finds Michael all the way in Sicily. A car bomb, one that was meant for him, kills his new wife, Apollonia. It completely shatters that peaceful life he'd built and destroys any last bit of hope he had for escaping the family business. So now, you've got the heir, Sonny, dead. Michael's dream of a new life is literally in ashes. He has no choice. He has to return to a family in total crisis.
And the Michael who comes back to America is not the same man who left. Not even close. You can think of it as two different people. The war hero, he valued things like honor, his country, his love for Kay, and becoming legitimate. But the future Don, he values family, power, business, and above all, control. All that optimism of the war hero is just gone, and it's been replaced by the cold, hard calculation of a strategist who now gets it. Power is the only thing that can protect his family.
So now, it's time for all debts to be paid, as the new Don rises. With Sonny gone, and Fredo's just considered too weak, Michael becomes the heir apparent. It's his job now. He even promises Kay that he'll make the family business completely legitimate within 5 years. But before he can even think about that, he has to consolidate power, and he does it under the quiet, watchful eye of his ailing father. And in one of his last conversations, Don Vito passes on one final crucial piece of wisdom to Michael. He tells him he suspects the rival Don, Barzini, was the real mastermind behind Sonny's death. And he warns him, whoever comes to you to set up a meeting with Barzini, that's the traitor. Well, shortly after that, Vito passes away. And right there, at the funeral, the family's caporegime, Tessio, makes that exact suggestion. He walks right up to Michael and seals his own fate.
Michael's final move to consolidate his power, it is an absolute masterstroke of brutal irony. It all happens during the baptism of his sister's child. He's standing there in a church, becoming the baby's godfather, taking part in this incredibly sacred ceremony. The priests ask him, "Do you renounce Satan?" And Michael, with just perfect, chilling calm, looks him in the eye and says, "I do."
And at the very same moment, he's renouncing all evil. His hitmen are out settling all of the family's business. The first target, Don Barzini, the man behind the whole war. He's shot dead on the steps of a courthouse. Just like that, one head of the 5 families is down.
Next up is Don Tattaglia. He's taken out while he's in bed with a prostitute. You see, all of these hits are perfectly coordinated. They're happening at the exact same time. It's a completely ruthless plan designed to wipe out the entire leadership of the rival families in one single bloody move.
And this purge, it extends all the way out to Las Vegas. Mo Green, the casino boss who had openly disrespected Michael and sided with Barzini, he's killed with a single, brutal shot right through the eye. This isn't just revenge. Michael is securing his new business interests at West.
So in just a matter of minutes, the slate is wiped completely clean. The heads of the 5 families are all eliminated, the traitor, Tessio, is taken away to be executed, and then, in one final, very personal act of vengeance, Michael has his own brother-in-law, Carlo, strangled for his role in setting up Sonny's murder. I mean, in a single afternoon, Michael achieves what his father never could in a lifetime. All rivals, external and internal, are gone.
But there's one last piece of business. When he's confronted by his hysterical sister and a very suspicious Kay, Michael crosses a final emotional line. For the very first time, he lies directly to Kay's face. He looks her dead in the eye and denies having anything to do with Carlo's death. And she wants to believe him. She chooses to believe him. But in that moment, an invisible wall just goes up between them.
And then comes that famous final shot. As Kay goes to pour them a drink, she looks back and sees Michael's capos, his lieutenants, approaching him, paying their respects. And as she watches, the door to his office slowly closes, physically and metaphorically shutting her out of his new world for good. The separation is total. The man she loved is gone. One of his men kisses his hand and addresses him with a new title, the very title he once ran from, but has now completely and terrifyingly embraced: Don Corleone. The transformation from war hero to mob boss is absolute. He's not Michael anymore. He is Don Corleone.